Welcome back to the JOTO Show. I'm your host, Jay Lakers and Tony Boney.
What's up, everyone? This is episode 11 of the JOTO Show. Today is November 13th, as of the time recording this. The time you guys are seeing this, it will be November 14th.
Yep.
So, yeah. Let's get started.
What's going on, sports world? Primetime games. +1 in our teams.
Yep. So we got
Yeah,
to start with Thursday Night Football here.
Bengals lost it by 1 point. They were down for 2 points and they didn't make it. 35 to 34. Bengals lost it. I can't believe that. We had a good
Yeah.
game. I wish we went for 2 and won the game. And if we did win the game, they beat us our place. We were trying to beat their place. And didn't work out the way we wanted to.
Yeah, so what happened, they went for 2. There was a few, debatable no calls.
Yeah, I know there was no. I know.
After he threw, he got hit. Joe Burrow, that is, got kind of hit, so that could have been a rough in the passer. Also, there was, I believe, Gesicki or one of the tight ends was being held. It looked like before the pass was thrown, so that could have been defensive holding. But
No
they went
call.
uncalled.
Yep, no call for that.
Ravens survive the near loss. Looking at these stats here, though, Joe Burrow, despite the loss,
That means
continues to have great games.
That means Ravens sweep us. They won 2 games. They won the series against the Bengals. Now we have the Steelers and we have the Browns. One more game with the Browns and we have 2 games with the Steelers left in the division. By the way, the Bengals were winning for a while there.
And then the Ravens scored 21 points in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I know. They're not supposed to be the fourth quarter comeback team. This time around they are.
Looking at these stats here, you would think the Bengals actually won this game. Joe Burrow had 428 yards, 34 of 56, and threw 4 touchdowns. 3 of them were to Jamar Chase, his wide receiver, who had 11 catches for 264 yards. That's 264 yards for just the receiver. And in the running game, Chase Brown also had a rushing touchdown at 42 yards. Basically, great game for all of them. Just couldn't get the win here.
Nope.
The Ravens, Lamar Jackson, 290 yards, 25 of 33, and also 4 touchdowns. Derrick Henry also scored a rushing touchdown at 68 yards. So kind of a not so normal Derrick Henry game you would see. He usually gets 100 or something like that. And his top receiver, Tylan Wallace, had 3 receptions, go for 115 yards and a touchdown. He also hit Mark Andrews and Rashad Bateman for a touchdown, and even Nelson Aguilar.
How Bengals can do better in week 11. We'll find out who they play.
Then next, we have Sunday Night Football, where the Lions went over to the Texans and barely clinched a win here, beating them 26-23. This game was honestly really close, despite a lot of things we'll talk about in a sec. Jake Bates hit a game-winning field goal to win it for the Lions. He also hit a game-tying field goal. Both were 50-plus. The first time ever that someone has hit a 50-plus yard game-tying field goal and a 50-plus yard game-winning field goal in the same game in the same fourth quarter.
Jeez, wow. You don't see that often, do you?
You literally have never seen it happen before in NFL history.
Yeah, that's why I just say you never see that happen at all. I don't know, college football or high school football probably could happen. Not this is first NFL. Wow.
Yep.
Interesting.
Probably happened in college.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's look at these stats. Starting with the Lions, which I want to get into the quarterback here, Jared Goff. They won this game despite Jared Goff throwing 5 interceptions. He went 15 for 30, 50%, 240 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions. As for his rival QB, CJ Stroud, he ain't do much better. 19 for 33, 232 yards, a little bit less, 1 touchdown, 1 less, and 2 interceptions. So a total of 7 interceptions from these two quarterbacks.
Jeez.
Then you had Monday Night Football, where the Dolphins defeated the Rams in LA 23-15. This game was not that close. The Rams tried to start coming back, but all they could do is score field goals, scoring 5 of them and not scoring a single touchdown.
Jeez.
The Dolphins, looking at their stats here, Tua went 20 for 28, 207 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. As for Matthew Stafford, he went 32 for 46, 293 yards, and 1 interception. No touchdowns.
We had Carolina Panthers take on New York Giants and Germany, 20-17. I was watching this game most of the fourth quarter and first ever overtime in the national, and it's once a year in Germany.
So yeah, first overtime game in international history. Germany only gets 1 game a year. Just to recap what my co-host said here. They only get 1 game a year, so an overtime game means more football for them to watch. So I bet they were excited over there. So in overtime, we had the coin toss. Giants won the coin toss and won the ball, as you do for overtime, at least not playoff overtime. So they got the ball. You know what they do on the first play in overtime? They fumbled it, and the Panthers recovered it.
I saw that. I was watching it. I saw that.
So they recovered it. They were able to just score a field goal to win this game, 20-17. Looking at these stats for quarterbacks and others, Daniel Jones, 190 yards, 22 for 37, 2 interceptions, no touchdowns. While second-year quarterback Bryce Young, 126 yards, a little less, 15 for 25, and 1 touchdown, no interceptions. It was mainly the Chuba Hubbard game, who had 153 rushing yards on 28 carries and also scored a touchdown. While Tyrone Tracy Jr. for the Giants also had 103 yards on 18 carries and also had a touchdown.
Your team won by 3. You can go ahead,
Yep.
Tony. This is your team.
Next, we had the San Francisco 49ers heading over to Tampa Bay, taking on the Buccaneers, and they won this one 23-20. The Niners won a nail biter. Let's just quickly say that. But it did get a little hectic. It got a little heated, whatever you want to say, with the Niners kicker Jake Moody missing 3 field goals.
Holy.
That's 9 potential points they could have had, but he missed all 3. He did eventually redeem himself, making the game winner, but it was really close there too, so I was on the edge of my seat watching that game.
I wasn't watching at all.
The Niners saw the return of Christian McCaffrey. He didn't have the greatest game, averaging 3 yards a carry for 39 yards on 13 carries. While it was mainly the Brock Purdy game, he had 353 yards, 25 of 36, and 2 touchdowns. As for Baker Mayfield, 116 yards, 18 for 29, and 1 touchdown. But then it came down to kicks, where, as I mentioned, Jake Moody missed 3, but then redeemed himself in the end to make the game winner.
Jeez.
Yeah, he went 50% on field goals. That's crazy.
That is
3
crazy.
for 6.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
crazy.
yeah.
Sunday Avenue games.
We're going to do 3 games per slide. We'll have 3 slides because there was 9 games, excluding the Niner game that we just talked about. So let's start with the New England Patriots at the Chicago Bears, winning 19-3. A low score here, but a great game for Drake May. Not so much for Caleb Williams. Drake May, 184 yards, 15 of 25, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Good game for the rookie. As for the other rookie, 120 yards, 16 for 30, almost a little above 50% for Caleb. No touchdowns, no interceptions. Obviously, no touchdowns because they only had 3 points. Then next, you had a fairly close one between the Denver Broncos and the Kansas City Chiefs. Chiefs defending home court here, winning 16-14. The Broncos were up 14-10 at halftime,
Wow.
with Bo Nix throwing 2 touchdowns in the second quarter. 215 yards, 22 for 30. Mahomes, 266 yards, 1 touchdown, 28 for 42. So that touchdown did happen also in the second quarter. How this game ended was 2 field goals, 1 in the third, 1 in the fourth,
Hmm.
by Harrison Butker, who went 3 for 3 on the day. And how this game actually went down was in the very end, Broncos were in field goal range. This is the last play of the game, like 1 second. Sean Payton called a timeout with like 1 second on the clock. This is from a pretty normal range for Will Lutz. Going for the field goal for the win, he gets blocked. For the past few games, I have noticed the O-line, the left guard or tackle, I forget which one, he is not really doing too well blocking. He's getting beat a lot. That way, the Broncos can't be scoring field goals like that because they can't get a good kickoff. But the Chiefs win that one 16-14. Moving on to our next game, you have the Buffalo Bills defeating the Indianapolis Colts 30-20. This game played in Indy.
10-point game.
It's a 10-point game here. I remember when I was watching this game first on Red Zone, I was watching it. The very first play of the game, Joe Flacco throws a pick 6. He finished the day with 3 interceptions, actually. 272 yards, 26 for 35, 2 touchdowns. Josh Allen didn't have much of a better game statistically. 280 yards, so 8 more yards. 22 for 37. So less completions in more attempts. No touchdowns, but only 2 picks compared to 3, and I believe none of them went for a touchdown afterwards.
That's good.
That's pretty good for him. It was mainly the rushing game where he and James Cook both scored a rushing touchdown. And with that rushing touchdown, Josh Allen actually is now tied for the second most rushing touchdowns by a Bill, tying O.J. Simpson.
More Sunday Avenue games.
Yep. 3 more here, and then we'll get to 3 more after that. And then we'll be done. But we got to get started with the Steelers at the Commanders.
I was watching some of this game.
Me too here. It was a good win for the Steelers, 28-27. This game went down to the wire. As you can see, it was a 1-point game. The Steelers.
They were losing by 6 points last time I checked.
Yes, they were actually 21-27. But then we had Russell Wilson, Mr. Unlimited, whatever you want to call him. 195 yards, 14 of 28, so 50%. 1 interception, but he threw 3 touchdowns, including the game-winning touchdown. Technically wasn't game-winning because it wasn't last second, but at the same time, it was the last score of the game, so I'd technically call it that. That player that caught that touchdown pass, you might know him from a former Jet, Mike Williams. former Jet, former Charger, now on the Steelers, was traded recently from the trade deadline, as we mentioned last episode. He scored the game-winning touchdown because that's what the final score ended up being, 28-27. So yeah, game-winning touchdown for him. Jets, on the other hand, we'll talk more about them later. His former team. As for the Commanders, Jaden Daniels also went 50%, 17 of 34, 202 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. Main scorer here for them was Austin Eckler. He had 2 rushing touchdowns, while his top receiver, Sarah McLaurin, with 113 yards. And next, we had the Minnesota Vikings going over to Jacksonville, taking on the Jaguars, winning this one 12-7. I don't know how they pulled this off with Sam Darnold not throwing a single touchdown, no one scoring any touchdowns for the Vikings, actually. 4 field goals.
Holy.
4 field goals to win this game, alongside Sam Darnold throwing 3 interceptions.
You know how hard to win by field goals instead of touchdowns?
Pretty hard.
It is not that easy.
It's not, which is surprising because we have seen this twice now this season.
Yeah, I know. It's 1 out of how many chance?
A lot, but can't get a number.
Can win by field goals. It's hard to win by field goals.
There's been like 3 games I know of, 2 this season, 1 last season. That was the Vikings-Raiders game that went 0-3. But this game, and then a few weeks ago, we had the Commanders beat the Giants without scoring a touchdown, 21-17 or something. Or 21-18, I think.
Yeah.
Either way. Field goal game. Pretty boring game, honestly. Field goals for the Vikings. 1 touchdown for the Jaguars, which wasn't even a throwing touchdown. No Trevor Lawrence this game, actually. We had Mac Jones playing. He had 111 yards, 14 of 22, 2
no Trevor Lawrence. Interesting.
He's injured.
Oh, boy. That's not good.
Nope. Because now they have to deal with Michael McCorkle-Jones. And like I mentioned, he had 2 interceptions. 111 yards, 14 of 22. Sam Darnold, as I mentioned, 3 interceptions, 241 yards, 24 for 38. And moving on to our last game on this page, we had the New Orleans Saints hosting the Atlanta Falcons, winning 20-17. Saints finally won a game after, 8 straight losses?
Jeez. Dang.
They have finally broken their curse of being horrible. They are currently 3rd in the NFC South now, but they're still pretty bad. 3-7 is 3-7. They have lost 7 straight. Still, a lot of games lost.
Mm-hmm.
They couldn't win those last 7 games, including last week against the Panthers. So they said, if we're going to lose to the Panthers, we got to get rid of our head coach. They did that. They got Darren Rizzi. And his first game as the interim head coach, a W. 20-17. Looking at these stats here, Derek Carr, 269 yards, 16 for 25, throwing 2 touchdowns, no picks, while Kirk Cousins, 306 yards, 23 for 38, 1 interception, no touchdowns. The touchdowns came from their running back, Bijan Robinson, who had 2 touchdowns on 20 carries. He also had 116 yards that way. As for the Saints, their guy for this game was Marquez Valdez-Scantling. Or Marquez, whatever you want to call him. MVS, I'll call him because that's his initials. MVS had only 3 catches, not many, but they were important. 109 yards, 2 touchdowns. Saints win this 20-17.
Moving on. Sunday Avenue games.
We still got more. These are the last 3. Sunday afternoon. Let's take a gander here, starting with the Tennessee Titans going over to LA, losing to the Chargers 27-17. This was the return of Will Levis, but unlike the previous weeks we've seen Will Levis, there was no funny image, sadly. Way to ruin it, Chargers. But he still had a good game, Will Levis. He had 2 touchdowns thrown, 175 yards, 18 for 23, no interceptions.
Good.
Justin Herbert, 164 yards, 1 touchdown, 14 of 18. This was mainly a running game for the Chargers and mainly a receiving game for the Titans. Chargers rushing had a lot of yards. Let's just say that. Gus Edwards 55, J.K. Dobbins 50, Justin Herbert had 32 himself as the quarterback and also a touchdown. And the other touchdown, Hassan Haskins. As for the Titans receiving, like I mentioned, that was their main category here because Calvin Ridley, 84 yards and 2 touchdowns. So, good game for them, just not enough to beat the Bolts. Chargers win 27-17. All right, moving on to our next game. We had the New York Jets going over to Arizona, losing this one 31-6. Not a single touchdown was scored for the Jets, only 2 field goals. Not a good game for the Jets that have been looking like they should be a good team with their roster, but they just haven't been doing anything, honestly. Aaron Rodgers, 151 yards, 22-35, no touchdowns, no picks. Normal stat line, just not a good one. Kyler Murray, 266 yards, 22 for 24, so he only incompleted 2 passes and also had a touchdown. Also, he rushed for 21 yards, scoring 2 rushing touchdowns. So he finished with a total of 3 touchdowns and 287 total yards. Pretty good game for him. Pretty good game for James Conner, as always. He had 5 catches, 80 yards, but he's the running back. And he also had 33 yards rushing with 12 carries. So yeah, Chargers win 31-6. Then in our final game from Sunday afternoon, we had the Philadelphia Eagles go into Dallas and destroy them 34-6. If you're a Cowboys fan, I don't know how you guys are feeling right now. Are you happy you might get a top 5 pick potentially? Because Dak Prescott, I forgot to report this last week. Dak Prescott is out for the season with season-ending surgery. He will not be returning, so they have to rely on Cooper Rush and Trey Lance at quarterback. Even with Dak, they weren't winning games either. They've only mustered up 3 wins so far this season. They're 3-6. Eagles now are 7-2. With this win, we'll talk more about those records later. But looking into this game with its stats, Jalen Hurts, 202 yards, 14 of 20, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. As for the Cowboys, they had 2 quarterbacks play, like I mentioned. You want to hear these Cowboy quarterback stats? Cowboys fans, cover your ears or something. Cooper Rush, 13 for 23, incompleted 10 passes. No touchdowns, no picks. He had only 45 passing yards.
Wow.
And then he was replaced with Trey Lance, who didn't do any better. 4 of 6, 1 interception, no touchdowns, and threw 21 passing yards.
God.
So they combined for 66 passing yards. And it wasn't even their running game that was the reason why they weren't passing that much. Rico Dowdle, pretty good player, 53 rushing yards, their leading rusher on 12 carries. Their leading receiver was Jake Ferguson with 4 catches for 24 yards. 24 yards being your leading receiver is not a good stat line. That is a first quarter stat line.
Holy crap.
He did that for the whole game. To put that in perspective, 24 yards was your leading receiver is lower than 3 different Eagles, including Jahan Dotson, who only had 1 catch for 27 yards.
Really?
Yeah. Eagles win this one 34-6. Absolute destruction. Mm-hmm. Now it's for our NFL Week 10 standings.
Yep.
These are everyone's records after this week has passed. Some familiar faces. In fact, I believe all of these are familiar faces except for the first team we're about to mention in the NFC, and that's the Philadelphia Eagles in the NFC East. With the Commanders' loss and the Eagles winning, they are now 7-2, leading the Commanders by half a game, who are 7-3. We'll talk more about those guys later, actually. The Cardinals at 6-4, while the Niners are 5-4, and the Rams and Seahawks both are 4-5. So this division is still pretty close. 1 game difference between first and second, a 2-game difference actually, basically, between first and last. So it's anyone's division still. Can't say the same thing for the North. Lions are 8-1. They've only lost that 1 game against the Buccaneers, I believe, week 2 or week 3. While the Vikings are 7-2. Packers are 6-3. That's the close part. The Bears are 4-5, however, after dropping their last game against the Patriots. And to finish off the NFC, in the South, Falcons are 6-4, despite suffering that loss. Buccaneers are 4-6. Saints and Panthers both 3-7. In the AFC, starting with the East, Bills are 8-2. The closest team to them is the 3-6 Dolphins.
Oh.
With the Bills having a semi-easy schedule, they still have to play their division opponents a few times. I think this division is already written down as the Bills. Miami needs a miracle to win this division. Jets are 3-7. Patriots are 3-7. So those guys already have 7 losses. Their best chance would be Bills losing 5 games minimum.
Wow.
That's not happening in my eyes.
No, not really.
Nope. In the AFC West, Chiefs obviously won another game. They're 9-0. Closest competitor for this division is the Chargers, who are 6-3. To be honest and a little bit realistic, I don't think they can catch up. But we'll see as time goes on. We'll see, maybe Chargers somehow win games and Chiefs finally lose a game or two. But to finish off the West, Broncos are 5-5. Raiders had their bye week and are 2-7. In the North, the Steelers are 7-2, while the Ravens are behind by half a game. It's almost the same. It is the exact same situation as the NFC East. 7-2, 7-3. While the Ravens recently won last week, Commanders recently lost last week. Steelers are still 7-2, winners of 4 straight games. Under Russell Wilson, Bengals are 4-6, and the Browns are 2-7. They still have their bye. So yeah, 2-7.
Right now, they're saying the Bengals are on the bubble for the playoffs.
They're still in the playoff race. Honestly, I should have put the playoff picture in this, but we'll do that for sure next week.
Yeah.
But to finish off these standings in the AFC South, Texans are 6-4, while the Colts are 4-6. Titans are 2-7, and the Jags are 2-8. Jags, I'm looking at this right now. The Jags have not won an away game at all this season.
Yeah.
0-5 in away games.
Wow.
Not a good look for them.
That's just
This is not a really good season for the Jags. I
nope.
believe if I'm looking at these, if we're going to talk about playoff hopefuls and playoff, like, they're not going to get into the playoffs, I believe any team with 2 wins only so far this season, they can be written down as they're more than likely not making the playoffs. There is a slight chance for some, like the 2-7 teams, but if you're 2-8, you're not making the playoffs,
When
and
I was
even
looking
if you
at
went out.
the power rankings, they are not last place in power rankings. It's the New York Giants are 32 power rank.
Yeah, they're also 2-8.
Yeah.
And they haven't won a home game, actually. They're 0-5 at home.
I have Bengals broke the curse. 0-4 game. They finally won their first home game.
Oh yeah, that was what 2 weeks ago actually
Yeah, that
against the
was.
Raiders.
Yep.
Yeah.
This happens.
College football. It's our recap. We have some games here. It's gonna be the playoff ranked teams. These are the teams that are currently in the top 25 playoff rankings. We will not have any more AP top 25s though, since every week we will have playoff rankings now. So that is the main focus.
Yeah.
This is the case for football. We'll get more into the AP when it comes to basketball right after this. Starting off with the still undefeated Oregon Ducks beating Maryland 39-18. These guys are still undefeated. They haven't lost a single game.
Yeah.
There's actually 4 teams in total that haven't lost a single game. We'll talk about all of them, actually, I believe, here. But this is not one of them. This is Ohio State, who won this game 45-0 in a good shutout. They're 8-1, so that's good for them. Then you had Georgia actually drop this game to Ole Miss 28-10. This was 2 ranked teams going head to head. Georgia now 7-2. Ole Miss now 8-2. Then you had Miami lose to Georgia Tech. This was a really close one according to the score, but Miami couldn't pull off the win. They are now 9-1. They have lost their first game of the season. Georgia Tech wins this one. They're not a ranked team. I don't have the record on here exactly. But yeah. Then you had the Texas Longhorns beat Florida Gators 49-17. Texas now is 8-1, while again, not ranked team. I'm not going to know the record straight off the top of my head. But I believe the Gators might be 4-5 or something. Ed or Tony put the record on here. Then we had Penn State win 35-6 against Washington Huskies. And moving on to our next page, we had Tennessee beat Mississippi State 33-14. They are now 8-1. And then you had our next undefeated team with Indiana winning 20-15 against Michigan. And our third undefeated team here is BYU, who barely won this one 22-21 against Utah.
And here's 2 ranked teams.
And then we had a 2 ranked team game between Alabama and LSU. Alabama winning this one 42-13. They move to 7-2, while LSU moves down to 6-3. Then you had Boise State host Nevada, winning 28-21. They are now 8-1. And then to finish this page, you had Iowa State losing to Kansas 45-36. Iowa State now is
7-2.
I have it right here. Yeah, 7-2. I don't know why my brain turned off there.
And then
Iowa State is now 7-2.
And Kansas is 3-6. I have it on my phone.
Oh yeah, actually, you're right. I should put it on my phone. It's easier that way. We have more with Pitt actually losing this one against Virginia, 24-19. Pitt moves down to 7-2, while Virginia is 5-4. Then we had Colorado take on Texas Tech. Won this one 41-27. Colorado moves up to 7-2. Texas Tech 6-4.
I was about to say that. I have it. I have the Big 12 up right now, not the whole thing.
I have the top 25 up. Then you had
Okay.
Washington State take on Utah State and won this one 49-28. Washington State is now 8-1, while Utah State is now 2-7. Then you had Clemson winning 24-14 against Virginia Tech. Clemson is now 7-2, while Virginia Tech is 5-5. And then you had Missouri win over Oklahoma 30-23. Missouri now is 7-2, while Oklahoma is 5-5. And to finish up our top 25, we had Army, our last undefeated team, beat North Texas 14-3. As I mentioned, Army undefeated. They are 9-0. North Texas is 5-4. Then we have our usual highest totals and biggest differential. Starting with our overtime highest total, it was Jacksonville State at Louisiana Tech. Jack State winning 44-37, a total of 81 points. Then our biggest differential was a team we didn't mention actually until now that was ranked. It was Notre Dame, who won 52-3 against FSU, a difference of 49. Notre Dame is now 8-1. FSU is 1-9, so they're not having a good year. Then our highest total without overtime. Was actually 1 point more than with overtime. That was Cal defeating Wake Forest 46-36, a total of 82. And then we have our teams. I'll start with mine. It was San Jose State at the Oregon State Beavers, winning this one 24-13. And this is yours, Jay Lakers.
The Bearcats lost 31-24. They had the lead for a little bit, and then West Virginia came back and went. And the West Virginia is two. No, sorry, no, my bad. They're 5-4, and the Bearcats are 5-4. The difference is West Virginia is 4-2 in the conference, and the Bearcats are 3-3. Yep.
Then we had our buys, which were SMU, who heading into this bye were 8-1. Then Texas A&M, who were 7-2. Kansas State, also 7-2, and Louisville, who are 6-3. And then moving on to our college football playoff rankings here, we have a few moves. A lot stays the same, but a big jumps, a lot of things. New teams, we'll get to that near the end here. Let's start with our top 5. They are Oregon, of course, 10-0 still. They were number 1 last week. They stay number 1. Ohio State stays at number 2. Texas moves up 2 spots to 3rd. Penn State moves up 2 spots as well. Indiana up 3. BYU up 3. Tennessee stays at 7. Notre Dame moves up 2 to 8. Miami, due to that loss, moves down 5 spots to 9. Alabama moves up 1 spot to reach the top 10. Then our 11 through 15, we have Ole Miss at 8-2. They move up 5 after beating the next team on here, Georgia, who moved down 9 spots. They are now 7-2. That's a big loss for Georgia. They are the last team in the top 12, which would be the normal college football playoffs. Right there with the new rules and the new layout. But then to finish our top 15, we have Boise State at 8-1. They moved down 1. SMU at 8-1 as well. They moved down 1. Texas A&M also moves down 1. Both SMU and Texas A&M had a bye. but they had to make room for Ole Miss, who moved up 5 spots from 16. And then to round off our bottom 10 here, 16 through 25, we have Kansas State moving up 3 spots, is now 7-2. Colorado also moves up 3 spots, also 7-2. Washington State at 8-1, also moves up 3. Louisville moves up 3 with that bye week. Clemson moves up 3 as well. They're 7-2. And our first new team is South Carolina at 6-3. They're our first new team here. And then LSU are also 6-3, but because of that loss, they moved down 7 spots. That's why everyone had a big jump, even the teams with a bye week. Then Missouri here at 7-2 moves up a spot. Army moves up a spot. They're undefeated still, 9-0. And our second new team here is Tulane at 8-2. They've been playing great football, just pretty good football at least, enough to win games. That's for sure.
Yep, I remember
They're
that.
8-2.
I remember that team because they used to be the Bearcats division. They were used to be the Bearcats used to be in that division with that team.
Yeah.
And 2 teams are out.
So 2 teams are out because 2 new teams are in. They are Iowa State, who were originally 17th. As we mentioned, they lost to the Kansas Jayhawks. And Pitt, who lost to the Virginia Cavaliers. So there's your new top 25. Now we move on to men's college basketball, where we have an AP top 25 for this week. These rankings come out for the men every Monday. The women, I believe, is every Tuesday. So it's right after. We'll get into the women later. Let's start with the men, which is almost the same. At least the top 3 stay the same. That's Kansas, Alabama, and UConn. All 3 of them are 2-0 so far. They're all undefeated. We have other 2-0 teams, including Gonzaga, who moves up 2 spots, Auburn, who moves up 6 spots, and Duke, who moves up 1 spot. Those are your 2-0 teams. Iowa State moves down 1 spot. They are 1-0. Or actually, no. Iowa State moves down 2 spots. They're 1-0. So we haven't seen that second game. Maybe that's the reasoning behind it. Who knows? This is the AP Top 25. That's their own poll.
And Houston
That's
went down
how
to
they do
4
it.
spots.
That is true. They did. They did lose a game.
I'm
They
looking
are
on
1-1.
ESPN. I'm looking on ESPN rankings
Me too. That's why I'm seeing this.
on the app.
Arizona. Yeah. Arizona is 2-0. They move up a spot. North Carolina, UNC, whatever you want to call them. They are 1-1. They move down a spot. Tennessee is 2-0. They move up a spot. Baylor is 1-1. They move down 4 spots. Purdue moves up 1 spot. They're 2-0. Creighton is 2-0. They move up a spot. Marquette is 2-0. They move up 3 spots. Indiana is 2-0. They move up a spot. Taylor, because you can handle this one because I know you want to.
The
It's your team.
the Cincinnati Bearcats are 2-0, move up 3 spots, number 20 to number 17.
Yep. Arkansas, those Razorbacks are 1-1. They move down 2 spots. Kentucky, 2-0. They move up 4 spots. Florida's 2-0. They move up a spot. Ohio State is 1-0. They move up 5 spots. I believe that means they're a new team here because they are 21st. Yes, that's actually true because I remember Rutgers is 25. We'll get to that in a second. St. John's also is a new team here. They are 2-0. They move up 4 spots. Texas A&M is 1-1, and they got hit hard. They are moving down 10 spots after being 13th.
Jeez.
Rutgers is Rutgers is 1-0. They move up a spot, and Ole Miss is 2-0. They move down a spot. So, as we mentioned, 2 new teams, which were Ohio State and St. John's. And the 2 teams that dropped from this rankings because of it, I should have done the thing like I did with the football.
Football, yeah.
But I forgot to.
Next time.
But next time for sure. And then 2 teams that are out now are Texas and UCLA. Texas was originally 19th. UCLA was originally 22. Moving on, we had the women's college basketball AP top 25. It's just like the men's, just in the women's side. Taking a look here,
Different
we have
number ones than the men's.
that's for sure. There's a
A lot of
they're
difference.
not the they don't have the same type of players per school. Obviously, you're gonna expect some good teams and some all right teams when you compare the two. Some teams will be on both sides. Some teams will be outliers and just have a good women's or a good men's team. But let's get to it. The top 8 teams all stay the same, which are South Carolina, who are 2-0, UConn 2-0, USC 2-0, Texas is 1-0, UCLA 2-0, Notre Dame 2-0, LSU 2-0, Iowa State 3-0. All 8 teams I mentioned there did not move anywhere in the rankings. The next team, though, moved up one spot. That's Oklahoma. They are 2-0. While Kansas State moves up 3 spots, also 2-0. Maryland is 3-0. They move up 7 spots here. Big jump for them. Ohio State moves up 2 spots. They are 1-0. NC State here moves down 4 spots. They are 1-1. UNC is 2-0. They move up 1 spot. Then West Virginia, 2-0. They move up a spot. Duke and Baylor both move down 5 spots each. Duke is 2-1. Baylor is 1-1. Louisville 1-1 moves down a spot. Ole Miss at 1-1 moves up a spot. Kentucky at 2-0 moves up 2 spots. Nebraska at 2-0 moves up 2 spots. Alabama 3-0 moves up 2 spots. And our 3 new teams here are Illinois, who are 2-0. They move up 3 spots from not being ranked, basically. They're at 23. Stanford is 3-0 at 24. And Oregon is 25th, who are also 3-0. That's your new teams here. The 3 teams out, Florida State, who were originally 19. Creighton, who was originally 21. And Indiana, who was originally 25th. Then we had the Emirates NBA Cup. This was the in-season tournament. Last year it was just called the in-season tournament. But we had our first 8 games of it yesterday as of the time recording this, so 2 days ago when it comes out. So let's just get into them. We're going to quickly skim through them. The Pistons hosted the Miami Heat, winning this game in overtime. I was actually watching this game. 123 to 121. The Pistons tied the game up with in last second. Let me go through this actually. Pistons lose the lead with a mid-range made from Tyler Hero, the Miami Heat player. So they take a 2-point lead, 121 to 119. Pistons call timeout. The play they draw up with a second, 1.9 seconds left, is a lob up to, forgot who, I believe Jalen Duren. Not exactly sure. He goes up and dunks it to tie the game up. Eric Spoelstra, the Miami coach, was upset that they let that happen. So he goes to call a timeout. But turns out they were out of timeouts. And when you call a timeout when you don't have any, it's a technical foul. So they got a technical foul free throw. They scored it, and they took the lead. Miami couldn't score another basket to tie it up or even win this game. They dropped this one. They are now 0-1 in the in-season tournament. The Pistons are 1-0. Then we had a close game here between the Atlanta Hawks and the Boston Celtics.
2 close games.
117 to 116.
By 1.
2 very close games.
Yeah.
Both of these came down to the wire. One of these happened due to mistake, and the other one actually pretty good win for the Hawks. They did not have 3 of their best 4 players, in my opinion, that game. So they were missing 3 key players, and they still went on to beat the Boston Celtics, who were the former champions last year. Then we had the Magic just not making this one close against the Charlotte Hornets, winning this one 114 to 89. And then another not close game was between the New York Knicks and the Philadelphia 76ers. A difference of 22, I believe. Yes, math. No, math. Math was very wrong. Sorry, 12. Difference of 12. Difference of 12. So yeah, Knicks win that one. Then we had the Bucks defeating the Toronto Raptors in Milwaukee, 99-85. And the Suns defeated the Utah Jazz in Utah, 120-112. Then I was actually watching this game. This is my team, the Golden State Warriors. They hosted the Dallas Mavericks. Won this very close game by 3 due to Steph Curry. This was also the return of Klay Thompson. For the basketball fans out there, they know that Klay Thompson was a former Warrior for the past 11 to 12 seasons. Top of my head, I can't remember. But they had a video for him, like a welcome back Klay. We miss you, but obviously you're on a new team, so it was more of a we love you, not a we miss you. And they said, we don't miss you. We're going to win this game. They won it 120-117. And then finally, we had probably another upset outside of, well, the Celtics game was close. It could have gone either way. The Pistons game, that was made a mistake. Everything else seems like a normal team. That team should have won it. This game, however, should not have been. 122-108. The Trailblazers beat the Timberwolves by 14. Timberwolves last year made the conference finals in the West, while the Blazers were looking at a top 5 pick. And they still aren't looking that good, while the Timberwolves are looking to try to repeat what they did last year. A loss like this, there's an 82-game season. It's not going to affect them too much. You know, you're going to tend to lose to bad teams here and there. But for the in-season tournament, it is really bad because there's only 4 games played that aren't the playoffs in that tournament. Last thing I'd like to mention before we move on is the next game will actually be this coming Friday. The next group of games, I believe there is 12 total games, so 24 teams will be active on Friday for the Cup, and all other games will be on Tuesdays and Fridays in this month. Like I said, 4 total, so they got to get at least maybe 1 a week, if not 2 in one of the weeks. So yeah, 2 homes, 2 aways. We'll talk more next week about the in-season tournament. We'll have more games to talk about, actually. But then we move on to the Premier League. It is match week 11, and we have our updated scores and updated standings, I should say. Start off with Liverpool, who are 9-1-1. Man City is 7-2-2. Chelsea, Arsenal, and Nottingham Forest are all tied at 5-4-2. That includes Brighton, actually. So 4 teams tied at 5-4-2. Fulham is 5-3-3, alongside Newcastle and Aston Villa. And Tottenham is 5-1-5 to round up your top 10. Then Brentford is also tied with Tottenham at 5-1-5. But the goal difference and goals for is a big difference. Tottenham having a 10 goal difference, while Brentford only at 0. Then Bournemouth and Man United are 4-3-4. West Ham is 3-3-5. Leicester City and Everton are 2-4-5. Ipswich Town is 1-5-5. Crystal Palace 1-4-6. Wolves 1-3-7. And Southampton is 1-1-9. No more teams have no wins. Every team has gone a win now. Congrats, Southampton. You finally did it. Oh, it's everyone's favorite part. It's our current standings.
I'm not
Let's
happy.
take a look here. This guy's not happy. He went 7-7, a perfect 500. So a 50% record here this week. I did a little bit better. 3 games better, 10-4. Not my best work, but obviously not complaining.
You could do worse.
It could be a lot worse. It could just be a little bit worse like yours. But
That'd be
I'm
bad.
gonna let
You only
everyone know.
won one game. You lost the rest of your games. That'd be
Oh,
bad.
you'd be very lucky. You'd be unluckily lucky that you'd get every game wrong
Yeah, sub one.
or something like that. Maybe what if I went like 0-14?
That'd be bad.
That'd be crazy.
Yeah.
He would be coming back easily. But here's our totals,
He's almost at 100.
guys. I'm almost
Yes.
at 100. I'm ahead by 11 games here compared to him. But guys, we have a poll on our YouTube now. So for everyone that just goes to our channel, I believe it's in the community tab. You can just
It
answer the
is.
poll
I made it.
between. Thank you. Appreciate that. You have three options. You have me, Jay Lakers, or will it be a tie on who has the better record?
Right now, the tie's
So yeah,
winning.
right now the tie's winning on the predictions, but we need more voters. Obviously, it seems a little. It may seem easier to just vote for me since I'm up 11 games, but anything can happen. I could have a
Yeah.
really bad week or two, and he can have great weeks and
All
have like
three.
perfect records.
All three. There's three people voted for tie. It was all three of my channels. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, so we have all three of his channels going for a tie. We need more
I don't want
people
to be
to.
biased for me win. That I just want to make it even and make it fun. Or
Yeah. But yeah, we need more people to put votes into the poll. Just because I'm up 11 games doesn't mean I have the clear cut win. Anything can happen. Come on, the
yeah,
Chiefs are 9-0. They're bound to lose a game.
yeah. I sent
I'm up
it.
11 games. I'm about
I,
to have a bad week.
I sent it to people who were in the Discord to them. If they
Yes, that's it.
yeah. So
But before we start our predictions, let's look at our buys this week. Who's not playing? It's very simple. It's the two teams that went to Germany, not London, like I mentioned and messed up before. The Giants are 2-8.
You guys will
And
see
the
that in the
Panthers.
bloopers. So
You guys will see that in the bloopers. That is correct. The Giants are 2-8, while the Panthers are 3-7. Then we have the Cardinals, who are 6-4, leading the NFC West. So I don't know if they want this bye, but maybe. As for the Bucks, they have recently lost their last game. They're 4-6. They probably need this bye. Heal up a little bit. Mike Evans and Chris Godwin both out.
the Cameron Panthers and New York Giants are not doing so good. They need this bye.
The Panthers are winning. They won 2 straight. It's just they take the bye because they were both
Actually, they won
internationally.
three.
So I guess
They won 3.
not 3 straight.
Not
2
sure.
straight.
Yeah, no, they won 3 games.
They won 3 games, 2 straight. So honestly, based off their current winning mentality, they don't really need this bye. Obviously, you take it because you're coming from Germany. You're gonna have some jet lag. You want to take a week off.
Moving on.
But moving on, we have Thursday Night Football between the Commanders at 7-3 and the Eagles at 7-2. This is for the definitive number 1 spot in the NFC East, at least for a week. Both teams play for this same division. Both teams have 7 wins. Commanders haven't had their bye yet, so they're 7-3. The Eagles are 7-2. Eagles recently beat the Cowboys, while the Commanders recently lost to the Steelers. So this game has a lot of implications to it on who can take the NFC East.
Mm-hmm.
This will be Jaden Daniels versus Jalen Hurts. This is their first time meeting due to Jaden being a rookie and them not playing the Eagles yet until now. If we look at history, though, Commanders, if you even go back to when they were the football team and even the Redskins, they're 88, 85, and 6 against the Eagles all time.
Yep.
But we got to report their injuries. We'll start with Washington. Actually, you know what? Let's start with Philadelphia.
Only have one. Wow.
They only have 1 injury so far, and it's not even an injury. He's good to go. That's Devonta Smith. He has a hamstring. He suffered a hamstring injury, but he was limited in practice today, actually, of the time recording this. They are saying he's good to go. They're just saying limited practice because they didn't want to give him full reps. Just make sure he's ready. He's good to go. So Eagles technically don't even have anyone injured. of the 53-man roster. As for the Commanders, they have a few injuries that we know their status of.
That's crazy.
For the most part. That is a little crazy, yeah. Marshawn Lattimore, hamstring injury, out. Nick Bellore, knee injury, out. Hopefully I said that right. Austin Seibert, hip injury, out. That's their kicker, so they have to rely on their backup. Brandon Coleman and Andrew Wiley, shoulder injuries. They're both questionable for this game. Cornelius Lucas with an ankle injury. He's questionable as well. And that's our injury report. Devonta Smith, as we mentioned, he's good to go. So, yeah. And next, we have our Sunday afternoon game. This game will be at 4:05 p.m. Eastern. It is the San Francisco 49ers hosting the Seattle Seahawks. Both teams play in the NFC West. Both teams are really close record-wise. Seahawks are 4-5 coming off of their bye. Niners are 5-4 coming off of a win against Tampa Bay. This is Geno Smith versus Brock Purdy, which is their fourth meeting all time. The Seahawks have the better record all time. They are 29-22 against the Niners. However, based off recent trends, Brock Purdy hasn't lost to Geno Smith or the Seahawks at all in his career. So, yeah, we'll talk more about that later.
This game was supposed to be daytime game. They changed it with the Jets and the Colts because they're tired of the Colts playing night games. That's why they changed it to the Bengals and Chargers. The Bengals and Chargers. The last time the Bengals and Chargers play was 2021. They lost 2021, 2020, and 2018. The last loss was 2020, and the last time the Bengals beat the Chargers was 2015 when they were San Diego Chargers. And the Chargers has 23 wins and 15 losses. Chargers have more wins than losses than the Bengals right now.
Wait, how many wins and losses?
23 and 15.
Oh. For some reason I have 22 and 14 written down, but I'll go off of your word. You did the more research. So,
I have it on a Fisher Furio. You will see. You guys will see.
Yep, you guys will see that eventually.
Yep.
But more about this game. Bengals 4-6 after suffering that Thursday night loss. They got a few more days of rest. While the Chargers 6-3 recently won their game. I forgot against who. I'm not gonna lie. I already forgot against who.
And the Bengals have not had buys yet.
Yep, Bengals have not had a bye. Chargers did earlier. Chargers beat the Titans, as I forgot to mention just a second ago. But yeah, this is Joe Burrow versus Justin Herbert. Their second meeting all time. Their first meeting was that loss that you mentioned.
Yep.
If we look at history, like you said, 23-14 or 15.
And the score was 40.
Chargers have the advantage.
Chargers 41-22.
But yeah, he basically covered all the little facts that I mentioned. So yeah, let's move on to our next game.
This game was supposed to be at 4:25. I'm not complaining about this. This is night games for the Bengals.
He has more time. He loves more night games for the Bengals.
They need to win.
Yeah.
Night football. The Cowboys taking on the Texas. Who's in Texas? Battle of the Texas.
I mean, you said it. It's the Texas battle. The Texas. What would be a good name? What's Texas related? The Texas Rodeo? That's probably already a thing. So let's not call it that.
No, I don't know what.
Anyways,
I don't know what it's called because I know Cincinnati and Browns is Battle of Ohio. So I don't know.
This might just be the Battle of Texas for all we know.
Yeah, we'll just call it that way for now.
We'll call it that. It's the Battle of Texas. It is the Houston Texans at 6-4 taking on the Dallas Cowboys at 3-6. If you saw this game, let's say 15 years ago, you would have the Cowboys winning this any day of the week. But recently, it's not been looking that way. CJ Stroud versus Cooper Rush or Trey Lance. I have no idea who's quarterbacking them yet. Obviously, we mentioned earlier Dak Prescott is out for the season, so they got to rely on their backup Cooper Rush and their third stringer Trey Lance. For those who are going to watch this game, it's either going to be Cooper Rush or Trey Lance. Whichever one it is, it will be their first meeting all time against CJ Stroud.
Wow.
Well, CJ's been in the league for like 2 years or something. So, exactly 2 years. So, they still didn't have time to play them. But I digress. If you look at their history, Cowboys have the slight advantage over the Texans. And this was probably early Texans years. Cowboys are 4-2 against the Texans all time. So, yeah. We'll talk more about that in our next slide.
And our final slide, too.
Our penultimate slide, if you will. But yeah, it's basically our final slide.
Oh, yeah, we're doing lightning around this. I got Philadelphia. I got Chicago. I got Detroit, Minnesota, Vegas, New England, New Orleans, Pittsburgh, Atlanta, Seattle, Buffalo, Cincinnati, Colts, and Dallas.
I'm counting them based off mine. I think we have like 6 or 7 different picks. Let me go through mine real quick though. I have Washington, Green Bay, Detroit, Minnesota, Vegas, LA Rams, New Orleans, Baltimore, Indianapolis, Denver, San Francisco, Buffalo, Cincinnati, and Houston. Ours are a little mixed up. His game has the Indianapolis still being a night game. But as we mentioned, that did get moved.
I just noticed that. Yours is different.
Yeah, mine got updated and flexed out for the Chargers.
No, because I went on it today and didn't update it. That's kind of weird.
Strange.
Mine wasn't updated.
Mine was. That's kind of funny.
That's kind of weird. Okay. Yeah, sorry about the confusion.
But yeah, 7 different picks is what I counted.
Let's see what happens. I can be perfect this week. I can be 10-4, or 7-7 again.
And who knows? We have 7 different picks. That could be a big difference if all of my 7 different picks are wrong.
What about we're both for 7? What about we both for 7-7? That would be weird too.
I don't know how that would work this week, but yeah, actually, no, there's 4 games. Yeah, okay, we could potentially go 7-7 here. 14 total games, 3 nights.
Yeah, I did not know that. Yeah, because sorry about the Jets and the Colts supposed to be night game. They changed it with the Bengals. Sorry about that. I didn't. When I put it up, it didn't update for me. I didn't see the update. That's kind of weird.
Understandable.
Yeah. Moving on.
But we got the point anyways. Let's move on to our final slide, our actual final slide. It's just the thanks for watching slide. Thanks for watching, everyone.
It's been an hour. We have water editing. He has water editing to do. I have a lot of bloopers to make. I still do episode 7. Because 5 and 6 is coming out soon.
So be on the lookout. Every Friday, we will have bloopers. But yeah, thanks for watching, y'all. This has been episode 11 of the JOTO Show. Wow, I was gonna say something. I'm gonna say this now before I get mentioned about it. I will not be doing injury reports. I just feel like there's no point to doing an injury report when it comes out hours before the game, because then you can't really take that into consideration. Obviously, some cases there will be like this guy's game day decision or game time decision, but I'm just gonna stop doing the injury reports for this. Maybe in the later months I'll look back into it. But
we also do Thursday injury reports.
We'll still do Thursday night injury reports because that will be for the same day game, and it's just a good way to do it for the show since those injuries are out as of the time we record this.
Right away.
So for those to see the new schedule map, the new map for the schedule of our shows, in our episodes and our videos, we have the main JOTO show videos. Those come out every Thursday at 1 p.m. Pacific.
We changed the dates recording now. So Wednesday comes out. Now we're doing Thursdays instead.
It works better. We get more information out of the way.
Yeah.
Or we get more information that we can put on the show. Release it on Thursdays. That way, also too, we record a little bit earlier because usually for Tuesdays I have to wait for things to end and then record, and then the recording goes until 12 in the morning my time. This man is going to be up at 3 in the morning or something.
It's only 12 o'clock right now.
For him, it's only midnight.
Yep, right now.
And
by the time
we started a little bit later than we usually do for recording this, actually.
I have nothing to do.
He has nothing to do, at least early on.
Not too much, just do stuff around the house.
Just do stuff around the house. Maybe watch Thursday night if you're interested in it. If like it's the
I will be
like last week.
I will watch it when I'm down here.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna be watching it.
When I'm downstairs.
Thursdays, JOTO Show. Then Fridays is the bloopers from like 3 episodes prior. 4 actually wait, math. That's about like 5-ish episodes before.
Yeah.
Something like that. You'll get bloopers from older episodes. They come out weekly as well.
Yep, I put episodes up. There's 2 episodes already premiering already this Friday and next Friday already. So
yeah, so be on the lookout for those.
I need to do episode 7 soon when that time comes.
Yeah. There will be more stuff in the future. We just don't know yet off the top of my head. Sundays is too busy. I'm busy watching football. It's like part of this whole job is to watch football.
Yeah.
And sports.
Same.
Wednesdays is our recording day, so we can't really upload anything.
The weekend I'm busy. Saturday I'm busy this weekend. So
I actually have things to do this Saturday too, so yeah. Usually Saturdays are not gonna have anything. Mondays we might look into putting something out that day. Maybe Tuesday actually, because Tuesdays I'm completely free. There's no football to watch. I just need to work on the slides. So maybe Mondays or Tuesdays we'll be looking into putting more stuff out. But for now, Thursdays and Fridays are our video releases. They are the actual show and the bloopers.
And there's something coming soon too. I don't know when I'm going to do yet.
Yeah, that is one of the big announcements that it will be coming out soon that we mentioned last episode actually. The other big announcement, still don't know off the top of my head, but be sure to look out for it. Probably a video on Monday or Tuesday. If it's a video, if it's anything else, we'll update you guys here. But yeah, that pretty much does it for me. Editor Tony, hit him with the outro music. Editor J Lakers, hit him with the bloopers the very next day of the time this video comes out. And regular J Lakers, hit him with the outro.
Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to subscribe and like, put a notification bell on this channel. Follow us on X, Instagram, and on Discord. Yeah, we just managed. We do have a poll going right now in the community tab on YouTube. I made that happen a couple days ago. It's been up there for a while. I check it. It has not changed yet. Don't forget to subscribe to all 3 of my channels. I am going to live stream. I don't know when yet. Soon on my channel. I'm going to do a Madden 32 tournament of all 32 teams. We'll put the description with all my channels. Be lookout there for that. And subscribe to all 3 of his channels and join our social media. Everything will be in the description. I'll see this all next time. This is Josh, aka Lakers, with Tony Baloney. See this all next time. Bye.